Hello and welcome to episode 1 of a brand new podcast called Wild Collectors Appeared. This is a Pokemon podcast dedicated to, well, all things Pokemon. My name is Joe. I'm going to be one of your hosts for this podcast. I'm alongside one of my best friends and co-host, Dom. We'll introduce him shortly, but quick thing about myself. I am an Englishman living in America. I've been a Pokemon hobbyist since a kid, really, but have recently got back into it after being reunited with my childhood binder, which, bless my mum's heart, she kept and stashed away for me. So we're starting a podcast because, well, we think it would be a bit of fun. But let me quickly introduce my co-host, Dom, who has actually been in this game a lot longer than me.
Hello, I'm Dom from the UK. I'm 32. I haven't moved away to America, so I'm still fighting the good fight here. I also was in Pokemon as a kid, fell out of it as a teenager, and then got back in a bit before Joe in around 2017, 2018 time, and got serious around 2019. And I think starting a podcast would be a good idea. I do a lot of commuting at the moment, and I listen to an awful lot of Pokemon content, but there doesn't seem to be enough long form content. So, thought maybe we should start a podcast. We already talk about Pokemon all day, every day, don't we? Message you back and forth with voice notes. Why not?
Yeah, I feel like you're my work husband in a way, right? But not work. It's because I wake up, there's a message from you, I reply, and normally you probably wake up for a message from me, right? So we're constantly talking about this and getting into deep details via text message. And so, one, it's just great to chat, and then so two, you were right. We just thought it'd be fun to start recording this and see if we can have a crack at some long format content.
There seems to be an unlimited amount of material to talk about. There's a new story every day. There's a new set. There's collecting, investing, trading, vending, all kinds. So we shouldn't run out of anything to talk about.
No. And you mentioned it, so I probably just have to as well. I think you said you're 32, just to point out the fact that I'm not 32. I'm obviously younger than you. I'm 36, so I am dealing with the fact that I am a 36 father of two starting a Pokemon podcast. But we'll deal with that and we'll roll with it, all right?
You're not the only one. You're not the only one.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let's quickly tell everyone what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
We're going to be having a couple of regular segments when we get together in chat. And then, as you alluded to earlier, we're going to deep dive a bunch of different subjects and get into the nitty gritty, right? We have various different opinions sometimes when it comes to Pokemon. We have very different collecting styles. And you're a seasoned investor, whereas I'm a little bit of a newbie. But our agenda is going to be, we'll be covering the news and just hot topics that are happening right now in Pokemon. As you said, there seems to be one every single week that we can talk about and deep dive. We're also going to do a really fun segment. This is genius from your brain, Dom, called On This Day, where we go back in time and look at some of the excellent opinions on Pokemon on some really popular Reddit threads. We're also going to do a quick market watch segment where me and Dom talk about what we are buying, watching, selling. And we'll wrap up today with announcing a really fun challenge that me and Dom started in the month of April. We're 8 days in, and we'll tell you a little bit about that later.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's get stuck in with the news, Dom. And I believe you've got a subject to kick us off first, right?
Yeah, first episode. So I thought, why not just kind of set the scene with what's going on in Pokemon at the moment? Obviously, it's their 30th anniversary. We're going to touch on that. But in terms really of like the bulk of new sets now, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like Pokemon is more and more rapidly coming out with a new set. So I just wanted to touch a little bit on kind of our opinions on the new sets, what's on the horizon for us, and where we sit at the minute. So I'll kind of get straight into it, really. First thing I wanted to talk about is Ascended Heroes. Now, it's funny because I don't know if you agree, but not really a new set now by Pokemon standards, which is weird.
Still in release. It's still in
release. I mean, we still don't have the bundles. They come out at the end of April, which is a shambles. This is not going to be a moan. This podcast is not going to be a moan. Although there are plenty of things that Pokemon could probably be doing better. Yep. We can all agree with that. The booster bundle's still coming out. I've been collecting ETBs like mad, as have many other people. And I think, you've been on the hunt for them as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm trying to pick these up as I see them at a recent price. I do think this is going to be. We don't know we know some of the sets coming up, but this has the potential to be maybe the prismatic of the mega era,
Yeah,
if depending on what's released afterwards,
I
right?
think I think the kids are calling it S tier, so we'll go with that.
That's right. S tier.
It's the largest set. It's got some massive hits. The SIRs are great. Everybody knows
Popular
this, and
Pokemon.
yeah, it was interesting to see. I think it was last week, actually, and it shows the demand. I mean, the hype really isn't dying down. I wake up, look at my phone, and there's a video from Oxford Street in London of a whole horde of people trying to break down the barrier of a Sports Direct, because there's a little game store in the back doing a re-release of ETBs, and everyone was so desperate to get their one each allocation. And I think that just shows, if you are buying these at MSRP or even at the moment at the current market price, the demand is certainly there, and I can't see it wavering. So, yeah, Ascended Heroes super super hot at this moment on episode 1 in 2026. We'll see. Hopefully, in 2 years when we carry this on, where that goes.
Just quickly on the news on set releases as well, Dom. I just want to quickly talk about Chaos Rising, because we are in a historical moment right now where Chaos Rising has been announced via the official Pokemon site and an official email announcement. And historically, without fail, Pokemon has then released that product on Pokemon Center within 1 to, I think, 2, maybe 3 weeks max. 2, I think, might be the correct answer. 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think we are now coming into week 4, close to 5, since they announced Chaos Rising, and the Poke Notified people have all said they see it on the back end, they see the images, blah, blah, but we have yet to receive, and Pokemon sent an email yesterday and today, neither of them were about Chaos Rising. So we're kind of in a historical new point at the moment. Don't really know why that Chaos Rising has been announced, but we are yet to be able to buy any product.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It could be production. They can't keep up with demand as it is, and it only seems to be growing at a more rapid rate. So, but with Chaos Rising, I mean, when we do eventually get it, are you going to pick some up? And is there anything in there that you see that you like, or?
Nothing at the moment that stands out to me from the cards, but that's just down to my personal taste. It's not to say that I think the cards are bad. It's just not potentially my set, right? I'm trying to collect a Pokemon Center ETB from every single set this era. I wish I got into things in Scarlet Violet, so I'm trying to do a PC ETB every single one this time. So I will try and pick those up. I will open some, but that'll probably be about it.
I mean, good luck on the PC pickups. I've just given up entirely, to be honest. I'm swerving.
Very hard.
It's never going to happen for me. I mean, I had 151 once, and that was a massive L letting those go. But here we are. But yeah, Chaos Rising. So I'm just thinking what we got in there. We've got the Mega Greninja and the Gold card.
Yeah.
Not jumping out to me, really. But then Greninja does have a massive fan base, so probably do all right anyway, won't it?
It will. I think it will, just as you said, because of the Greninja base. And there's, look, Pokemon I don't think they've ever released a set where, maybe with that, what was the battle styles, where just every card is brutal. But they don't really release a set with no good cards. Like, there's always some good cards.
Battle Styles does have some bangers. Go and look after this. Battle Styles has a couple of sleepers. I'm telling you, that Tyranitar is cool. Check it out.
I got it wrong. I didn't mention Battle Styles. I actually meant Rebel Clash.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I'll give you that.
I think it's probably the worst Pokemon set ever, so that's why I'm holding on to these.
All right, I'll give you that one. I'm not going to fight back on that. I do like the look of. Sorry, I do like the look of the Ampharos and the Taurus. I mean, I'm quite a Gen 1, Gen 2 guy, but those art rates are cool from Chaos Rising. And it's also worth mentioning that even smaller than Perfect Order, that set, 122 cards. They haven't done a set that small in a little while, I think, off the top of my head. So, these are kind of filler sets, and, maybe we'll be able to get our hands on them. I know that you've had plenty of chance to get your hand on Perfect Order compared to Ascended or Prismatic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm waiting for the Perfect Order to hit the rock bottom, because you can already pick up a Pokemon Center ETB for around like $120, I think it is. So I believe it'll get to about the $100 mark, and then I'll probably get my Perfect, because I missed that one. I didn't get that one.
Right,
I did also, Dom, just want to quickly bring up that we've had the announcements of a couple of other sets, right, as well.
Yep. Yes, we have. Yep.
We've had the
Pitch Black.
Right. Not Raikou. What was it called?
The Darkrai, yeah, set.
Dark. That's it. Dark.
Pitched only in
Yeah.
the last 2 days, I think. That's now
Yeah.
come out. It's going to be
That's
released
right.
in July. So another set to look forward to not picking up in
Yeah.
stores. Get breaking news here first.
The two that I'm
Um,
worried about the most is going to be
yeah,
the 30th Pokemon. Everyone's going to want to get that one, and then
obviously.
the other one would be the Rayquaza or however people correct me when I say it. The
Yeah,
Rayquaza
yeah.
set. That's gonna be huge.
And so I think the thought process was the Darkrai and the Rayquaza set would actually be combined, but it
Right,
seems
right,
that
right.
they have split them. I haven't seen. I don't know about you. I haven't seen anything official really about the Rayquaza set in terms of release dates or any card leaks. I know, we're hopping ahead here, but that seems to be
Yeah,
the way of the hobby right now. Everyone's
yeah.
looking
It
two,
does.
3, 4 steps ahead.
It does.
Certainly from an investing standpoint
Yeah,
as well. Everyone's looking for
yeah,
that next, prismatic
yeah.
151. Um, yeah, and I think it's here in Ascended Heroes, but plenty for us to pick up on as it comes out. And
That's right.
obviously, we'll be coming out with different cards that we like, any picks that we've got for buying singles, graded,
Totally.
and sealed holds. And I'm sure we'll let you all know what we're doing.
Absolutely. I'll bring up the next news item, Dom. I want to quickly talk about and just reflect on the we're in the 30th anniversary, right? Obviously, a really
Yeah,
big year for Pokemon. 30.
yeah.
You see all the 25 products starting to pop off, and people are building up the excitement. But what I didn't know, Dom, was that
Mm.
when they do these anniversary sets, it's a whole year that they release stuff, right? I thought it might be just one set or a period, but they're releasing stuff all year for the 30th.
Yeah, they are, and they did that for the 25th. I
Okay.
wasn't actually lucky enough to be around for the 20th, which feels kind of weird because I feel like I've been doing this forever now. But yeah, that's how late to the party I am, really. So don't worry about when you're getting involved and how many new collectors have just started last week, last month, and I think that's part of what drives this craze. But yeah, they are certainly going to make the most of the year, and maybe that is why you see some lackluster sets. I don't know if it's fair to say that because every year you can't have killer sets every single release, especially when they're doing as
That's
many
right.
as they are. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, they could release anything right now and it's going to fly off the shelves. Literally anything. I cannot in the UK find. I mean, you seem to have a little bit
Much more.
more
Much
luck,
more.
but
Yeah.
over here, nothing MSR. In fact, I go into my card shop in my local town and I speak to the guy and he's like, oh yeah, I got 4 ETBs, that was my allocation. And yeah, they're gone. So
That is wild.
no luck
Do
on this end.
you like the anniversary sets? Do you I know you buy for your own
Yeah,
collection PC and then you also invest. Do you do either with any of the anniversary stuff?
not really. I mean, the nostalgia definitely hooks me, just like it does
Yeah.
everyone else. I picked up a bunch of XY evolutions when I first got back into the hobby,
Hmm.
and that was a massive set. That was probably the first set I bought sealed of and then
Hmm.
resold at a higher price. And then 151, of course. But in terms of the actual anniversary sets, I'm much more of a vintage collector, so they don't really stick with me. I didn't really like celebrations personally. That year they brought out the gold card, metal Pikachu and Charizard, which were pretty cool and are worth a pretty penny now, but they're not quite on my radar. But then you're newer and just getting into the hobby. Is this 30th set something that you're looking at?
When I look back on the 25th products, right, like the equivalent of whatever the ETB is, like a box or something, it
Yeah.
doesn't do anything for me.
Hmm.
And the cards, because didn't they have like the base set cards, but with the celebration sticker on them, or something
Yeah,
similar, right?
and a few others throughout
Yeah,
the Pokemon
that
history.
doesn't really do it for me. Like I want the OG. Like I have a problem with the base set two with the little number two on them. Like I don't like those. Like so anything
Come
outside
on,
of that.
man.
That's not my jam. The one thing I will say is that Pokemon obviously is they're always stepping up their game, and some of the renderings that I've seen of some potential boxes and of some potential cards are like, wow, that I'd want that. I'd want that. But they could just not be real.
I might have to argue on the base set 2 point, mate. I didn't realize we were going to get friction this early on, man. It's great.
Really?
I
You
love,
like that with
I
a
love base
stupid
set
number
2.
two on it?
Man, the packs look so good. The pack art, and then
Yeah.
the fact that they changed the hollow pattern for like base set 2 hollows are way better than base set hollows. But the problem is nobody wants to own them because they've got a 2 on them.
That's right.
And also, I will be honest, I don't actually own any base set 2 Grails or PSA cards, so I'm not the biggest fan, but you can't hate on it.
I have a in my set from when I was a kid. I had a raw Alakazam base set too, and so he's in my binder right now. But I
Hey,
didn't have many more after that. I think even back then I didn't like the number two, or maybe I
I'll
was just out of it
I'll have a few singles kicking around somewhere, but I
somewhere.
don't think they reprinted those base set cards enough. So they should do
No,
five
yeah,
more sets. Let's go.
yeah. All right,
Right,
Dom, let's move on to the next
let's do it.
segment. And again, I gave you credit at the very beginning, I think, and I'm going to give you credit again. I really like
Yeah.
this next segment we're going to go into. It's called On This Day. And why don't you just tell everyone a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so my idea was we were kind of spitballing and brainstorming ideas for what could we do on a pod that we would find fun, but also might be entertaining for others. And I think this one's great. So it's an on this day, and what I'm going to do is use the Wayback Machine online to go back. And I felt like I was going back a long way, but it only goes back as far as about 2021, 2022, specifically for the Pokey Invest in Reddit. And I'm going to have a look on the day or week or month that we do the podcast. Hopefully, we'll get done every couple of weeks, and we'll see what was going on 3 or 4 years ago on this day, and then discuss it and see, did everyone have terrible takes? What were people investing in that really paid off? And I think it will be quite an entertaining segment.
I know a little bit about what's coming. It's going to be highly entertaining. So why don't you take us into the first one? Let's go
All
back
right,
in
we'll pull
time.
the first one up. So I'm going to pull it up in editing. So I'm not going to pull it up in real time on the screen here. But we've got the Wayback Machine to Pokey Invest in Reddit, November 2022. You can see in the top right corner that it currently has 20,000 active subs or users on the Reddit then. I reckon I joined in around late 2021, early 2022, maybe mid 2022 when it was at about 15, 16,000 members. And I remember thinking then, like, wow, this is already pretty big. And then because we were doing this segment, I checked today and we're currently at 563,000 members of the Pokey Invest in Reddit. So it's definitely going mainstream. And have you got any thoughts on, the extra 543,000 people who are joining in on the Pokey Invest in chat?
I think, in fairness, I need to ask you that question
Yeah,
because you have been investing in Pokemon a lot longer. You are as you mentioned earlier, you're more so into your Grails and then sealed.
yeah.
I think you're better off answering that question, Dom. How do you feel about it having done this so long and seeing that rise?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I just think it's astronomical, to be honest with you.
It is
Like,
crazy.
it's so many people, and I think it will. It seems to be growing. It's like a snowball effect. It seems to be growing faster and faster month on month. Even just a couple of weeks ago, I looked and it was like 520. So that's 40,000 more active users. Like, think about 40,000 people who are trying to collect product, trying to find singles that are potentially undervalued. They're looking at slabs in the market, PSA populations. They're doing all the same calculations, which seem to run around my head all day, every day in the background while I'm, browsing eBay or Instagram or just consuming Pokemon content. And there's a lot of people now all trying to do the same thing, but I think it's actually just going to grow the market and
Yeah.
kind of put a foothold in it. It means that when this crash comes that everyone keeps talking about, I think it will just be a pullback. I don't think
Yeah.
we're not going to see a full crash. We might see a 30-40% pullback at some point, but there are so many people who are vending or interested in the Poke investing space that until we have a real economic problem outside of the hobby, I think it's going to continue. Do you want me to pull up the first one?
Yeah, go on, pull up
Like,
the first
so
one.
this one's here. So this is November 2022. If I just scroll down a little, the post here that was top on November 2022, and we're doing this as
Wow.
a first one. It's not on this day, but it was very interesting to see. It's about as far back as you can go in the Wayback Machine. Is people talking here about the Umbreon VMAX and that it's in free fall. It's just sold for under $900 on eBay, and then there's a whole slew of comments that are talking about how they're going to pick their Umbreon VMAX up for $250, and that
That's my
they were
favorite
right.
comment. That's my favorite comment right there. Is I'm going to buy this when it hits $250.
Yeah, good luck with that. I'd love to see his receipt for when he did pick that up. I'll be honest, at the time, I was probably more in that boat than, I mean, I wasn't quite posting on there, but the population was so high and many people just didn't think that the values could hold up. And look at it now. I mean, it's currently selling for over $4,000 for the PSA 10. So,
Yep.
yeah, they couldn't have been more wrong. And that gives you an idea of kind of what this segment's going to look like. But we will do an on this day from the end of March. I know we are a week later, but this one just worked so perfectly with a sale that I saw this week. So there was a Tag 10 and a PSA 10 Masaki Gengar, both sold this week. The Tag went for over $100,000, and the PSA 10 picked up a premium of $96,000. I will throw up screenshots from the alt sale for that. And then this March 2022 or 2023 Reddit shot from the Wayback Machine shows a peak sale at the time of $11,000. So it's literally 10x'd in 4 years. And the population's only gone up by roughly 30, from 58 to around 83 now. So, yeah, just unbelievable to look back only 4 years and see such a difference.
And I mean, obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing, right? And the Pokemon game is very different now to what it was even like 2-3 years ago with the amount of people.
Yeah.
I guess, ask me this. So even back, like, say 2000, what year did you say this one? 2021? Is that what this one was?
2022, I think this is.
2022.
Yeah.
So there was still no confidence tied to Umbreon as a Pokemon long term at that point. Would you say that's fair?
Sorry, the Umbreon was November 2022. This was March 2023. So literally 3 years ago, and it's gone up 10 times. My apologies for
come back to the Umbreon. People were wanting that. They would believe the populations were too big. Like nowadays, like take Phantasmal Flames, right?
Yes.
We've got the Charizard as the chase, and it has not dipped.
Nice.
Off release. Up and up and up and up. And the population's already at like 13,000, I think, or something from release. So were people back then just not confident in like Umbreon as a Pokemon? Was that confidence in Pokemon just not there?
I mean, I just don't think the interest in terms of spending that amount of money on an individual card was there. I think based on the fact that the liquidity was low. It was like if you bought a card, an expensive card, and bear in mind at that point I had and was buying some quite expensive vintage cards. At the time, they have increased in value since. Some of them I have sold. But the liquidity was nowhere near as it is now. Like, I know I could message a few people on Instagram that I trust, or I could throw one up on eBay, or I could send it to consignment, or I could go to a show, and I can get rid of that card and take in cash on the day or within a week very, very quickly. And at the time, certainly for modern cards, the notion was there's so many of these, you know, it's a short-term game, and we'll see a dip because they're just not rare. But I believe potentially there are more Pokemon collectors and or investors than we really think or know.
And people are obviously going to be investing at all different levels, right?
Yeah.
Like there's some big players in the game. And then like there may be those just looking for like jumping on the bandwagon or looking to just make a quick buck on something they've seen. So it is going to be interesting. Like these takes are just absolutely incredible. And the comments, I can't wait each week or each time we do this to go through and look at some of these comments, because we are going to make fun of people for not knowing the future, but it's going to be a really fun segment. And no way today would a Umbreon or a Gengar be released and people will be waiting on a dip.
Not to go to $250. No,
not happening.
And the thing that stands out for me the most, I think, and if you're new to collecting or you're newish, the time frame that we're talking about here is so short. 3 years. It just shows the exponential growth, and it's really interesting.
If we ever find a way of going further back, oh my goodness, I can only imagine what some of the like early blog forums.
This is episode 1, so I've got some other ideas. I think I can go further back. So wait on this one.
Yeah, really fun segment, Dom. I can't wait to get into this more. Are you ready to go into the next bit?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Going to touch on our market watch, which is going to be a regular segment for us, and this is where me and Dom are going to go through one at a time each and talk about what we are currently watching, what we're currently paying close attention to, what we're watching, what we're currently buying, actively picking up, and then what we're currently selling, things that we believe is the right time to let go. So we're going to take things one by one, but why don't you kick us off, Dom, with something that you're watching right now?
Are we going to do my watch, your watch, then my buy, your buy? Yeah, sounds definitely good.
Yeah.
I'll pull this one up as well. My watch is, and this is a Mewtwo PSA 10, the GX from Shining Legends. Um, I mean, I want to say it's a modern card, but it did come out in like 2016, 2017, so not so new anymore.
Vintage,
Uh,
bruv. That's vintage, bruv.
yeah, I know. I mean, well, that's a quick question, actually. Real snappy one. What do you consider to be new versus vintage in terms of date?
We're going to have to come up with something for a mid tier. Let's put it that way, right? Because that's not vintage, but that's not modern to me either. Like, we need a term. Maybe we could coin that and come up with be the first people to coin that. We need to coin a term for this mid era shit.
Is there a segment there somewhere that we can come up with? We'll come back to that. But it was
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
2017. It was 2017 that this
Okay.
came out. The population's roughly 2,700 in a 10. I picked mine up in November 2024, unbelievably, for £700. So
Wow.
roughly what, $900, a
Yeah.
$1,000 maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did, because right now
What is
they're
it?
going wild. I mean, we've got one here. This is 5 days, 10 hours left on Probe Steam. 5 days, 10 hours left.
Left.
It's got 140 watches, and it's at $7,400.
Stop. So, hang on a minute. What is that return? Fuck me. So, you've
Well,
gone from a
I mean,
$700 card to a $7,000 card and still not over.
it was about $900 when I
No,
bought it,
yeah,
but
sure, sure, sure.
plenty of people did pick it up at 700 and below. So
That is
yeah,
insane.
I'm watching that personal reasons,
Yeah.
but also just because I think it's potentially a future grail, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes over the next 6 months, and we'll
Are
pick back up
you?
on it in a few months.
You're watching it. You're keeping it.
I'm watching it. I'm keeping it. I'm watching it, and yeah, I'm not selling.
It's got no risk at entering the sale part anytime soon.
No,
I like
unfortunately
that.
not.
That's a good one, Dom. It's a really good card. And again, you're going to have such great insight on some of these older cards compared to what I have, because my watch card
Yes.
is the Roaring Moon from Prismatic. The reason I'm watching this card is I think Prismatic, I'm not sure the exact timelines, but I should imagine sometime next year we'll go through the officially out of print rumors, which I don't actually know if out of print is an actual thing versus just out of competitive rotation. So people assume that it's out of print. But either way,
Yeah.
Prismatic's Sunset will be coming next year. And
Yes.
we've just seen what's happened with 151. And yes, obviously there's lots of reasons like the nostalgia, but we know the fan base behind Prismatic. And when you look at this Roaring Moon, it's a Shinji Kanda artwork, which has typically got some value connected to it when you look at things like his Greninja, and a couple of other, and some of the other ones he's done, like the
Toad.
Magikarp, the Toad. And this card right now you can pick up for just around $150 for a raw copy. And when the time comes and people start talking about that Prismatic end, I just believe this card is easily going to double, if not more. And so if you can get it even a PSA 10, which I need to pull up the PSA 10 price, I think it's like $300. Maybe it could be wrong. I'm bad to guess.
Pull it up. It's a great art. I think the art is very cool, but then Shinji Kanda seems to not be able to miss. In fact, I'd like to have a look and see what are their worst arts, because everyone seems to love them. They've got a certain style and they are very cool. I mean, I'm not so sure on Roaring Moon as a Pokemon personally. It's a very cool Pokemon.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
like
I
I
give you
said
that.
the other day, it's not a Toad.
It's not Toad, no. But he's sitting in a set where he's competing with every evolution, right? Like, it's easy to do this, but remove all of the evolutions, and it is the number one card in the set, right? It's currently sitting at what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10th in the set, but you remove all the evolutions, it's the number one in the set. It's $160, so it's crept up even from the last time I saw it. And sorry, forgive me, I was well off on a PSA 10. A PSA 10 you can pick up for around $800 right now, and the population is just over 2,000.
Okay, well, for a modern card, it's not that high. Whether there are people that aren't grading them, I don't know.
That's
but
right.
I don't think the pull rates in Prismatic are that good, to be honest. And so I can't see there being, an absolute ton of them.
Good one to watch.
Yeah, good card.
All right, well, let's do buy next, right? What are we actively buying? And Lots of my active buying is actually just buying what you tell me to buy. But
It's a
I
lie.
do buy stuff myself as well. But tell me, Dom, what are you currently picking up?
I am genuinely picking up, and annoyingly, well, to be fair, I don't think the time horizon is good enough. But I'm picking up the Ethan's Typhlosion from Destined Rivals. I don't pick up that many modern cards, but I do think this set has got some bangers in it. Which, if you pick up the singles, another one I will shout out, even though I could probably use it in a future episode, is the Nido King from
Yep.
this set. Awesome artwork, but the Typhlosion in England right now, I don't know, I haven't checked the American pricing, but you can pick them up mint raw for around 15-20 pounds, and there are plenty on eBay that you can offer on. They're getting, the packs are getting ripped, in high volumes. So I think there's going to be a lot of these on the market, and the artwork's insane. And I think it's
It
a
is.
sleeper it's at the value that you can buy it at. So I'm probably going to fill a couple of binder pages
Yep.
and let them sit there for a couple of years, and I'm pretty confident they'll head up.
I think it's a really, really clever buy. And I'm also a fan of this card. I generally love the artwork. I want one for my PC, and I'm with you. I'm going to pick up a couple of these just to sit on until that time
Quick,
comes.
quick question:
Yeah,
how much Destined have you opened?
not a lot. Not a lot. And in fact,
Okay.
in the card shop the other day was an ETB, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen one of them since it came out. Like, I asked him, how much was that ETB? Because I hadn't looked recently, and it was $220.
Ouch.
I knew it was growing, and I know people have been actively investing in this set. I had no idea it jumped up that quickly.
I mean, yeah,
Like I won't
it's
be picking
funny.
up another ETB.
I can tell I'm old because this set's not been out that long, and even if it was a booster box 3 or 4 years ago, I'd be like, "Oh, it's gone up a bit fast,"
100%,
you know. So,
100%.
but yeah, I'm guessing you didn't buy the ETB.
No, I mean I got one when it first came out, and I paid
Okay.
$100 at my local card shop for it at the time, and that's looking like a bargain now. But
Yeah.
I would love to have more. It's a really cool looking box, but I'm not paying 200. Don't get me wrong. I believe it's going to obviously go over $200 long term, easy. But I struggle to pay $200 for something.
Well, another thing I would say is when we get together, we usually tend to rip a box or two
Yeah,
while we have
yeah,
a drink and chill out.
yeah,
I think my vote, even based on the value, I think we should rip Destined Rivals
yeah.
next time.
Totally down.
And maybe we'll have to record some clips from our pools, see what we get.
Totally down. Totally down.
Okay, sweet.
Let me tell you
Watch.
my buy Dom right now,
Yep.
and it won't be something I can pick up in bulk, but I will be trying to pick up a copy, if not more than maybe two or three, and it is the Pikachu V from Lost Origins.
Nice.
Lost Origins has got two Pikachus in the top 4 or 5 cards as a
Yeah.
set. And the one that is just ahead of this Pikachu right now is the Mega Pikachu V. No, the Pikachu VMAX. Sorry, it's the big fat fucker with Ash at the base of him, right? Like by his
Yeah.
nutsack.
Not a fan.
Not a fan. And right now,
No.
this card is a little bit cheaper. But do you know the one I'm talking about? Ash is in it. It's Pikachu main in it. It's a Dark Night Sky. We'll bring the card up, obviously.
Yeah,
But do
I'll
you know
pull
the
it
one
up.
I'm talking about?
It's the hand drawn one with
Yeah,
Pikachu in
yeah,
the foreground. It's actually
yeah,
a wicked artwork. And do you know
yeah.
what? I'll let you continue. But Lost Origin as a set, unbelievable like price on it. It's very expensive, really sought after. It's got some bangers in it, and I think this is actually a really good call. And I'll probably try and pick up a couple as well.
Yes, I've given you one. That's awesome.
Honestly, I
Um,
think it's a good shout.
I think when I first told you about it, it was $86. And we're now sitting at, I just brought it up again, we're now sitting at $93.36. I'm looking on Data, sorry, which is
Okay.
just what I use for my collection. And the Pikachu
Yeah.
VMAX right now is sitting 50 cents higher. And I honestly believe this Pikachu is going to outpace the Pikachu VMAX. And I've got a theory long term that this might do better than the Aerodactyl. The
Wow.
number one card in this set is actually, we talked about him earlier, Shinji Konda. It is the Greninja, and it is
Yeah.
$680 right now, raw.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of room for this Pikachu to grow. Look, it's a Pikachu. It's hand drawn, which, as we were talking about recently in our text, is hard to find nowadays. It's
Yeah.
got Ash, I believe, in this, or the guy that
Red.
looks like
Yeah.
Ash. Just it's one of those cards long term that I think is going to do really well.
It ticks a lot of boxes, and certainly when you compare like that Pikachu with the Ascended Heroes Pikachu, which
Hmm.
is absolutely popping off. The
Yes,
values on that are crazy. I
yes,
think it will possibly end up
Yep.
the highest value card in that set, even above
Yep.
the Gengar, which is a shame because I don't own one yet. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I think
A
carry on.
PSA 10, by the
More,
way, a PSA 10
more.
right now is sitting at $333 with a
Okay,
population of 7,500.
okay. I
I
mean,
mean,
there's
there's
a
going to
few
be
of
a
them, but
population to it, but the Pikachu, no one cares.
I just think you look at these pops and they look high, certainly compared to like, Skyridge or
Yeah.
these vintage sets which I'm
Yeah.
chasing where cards are
Yeah.
50, 100, 250
Yeah.
pop. But then there's 562,000 people looking at the Poke Invest in
Right.
Reddit page every day. Those
Nothing.
aren't normal collectors.
No.
And how many people are attending shows? How many people are getting into vending? I don't think these populations are going to look that big in
No.
5 years' time.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. All right,
Um,
let's do the next part, which is
do
really
sell.
difficult, actually, the sell. And this is like, we actively buy things to sell. So this is
Yeah.
sometimes hard. But what have you got listed as something you're selling or suggesting selling?
Yeah, I mean, I don't sell enough really. I have
Yeah.
sold a lot. Usually, I've used it to consolidate in my collection to pick up other rarer
Hmm.
items. That's seemingly worked really well up until now. In the minute in this market, you would say it's a good seller's market.
Yeah.
Everything's
Christ, yeah.
on fire, and so I'm cheating a little bit with mine. Mine is going to be if you've got anything, including me. This is singles which are damaged or just kind of obscure, or the other thing I've got is I've got some graded rainbows, which I've had for like
Yeah.
years. It's the Sword and Shield times, namely the Brilliant Stars Charizard. I'll pull that up, and the Japanese version, and it has increased and it is increasing. But when I compare it to the growth of, say, like the Mewtwo GX, it's gone up £50 rather than
Yeah.
10x, and so I do just wonder whether the demand is actually there in this market.
Sure.
And maybe I'll be proved wrong in 5 years'
Sure.
time, when everyone's suddenly trying to collect all the rainbows like they're gold
Yeah.
stars. But for now, I think it's time to let go.
Rainbows aren't my favorite. Again, like as we were speaking about earlier with the gold cards, right? I like colors on my cards. I like artwork,
Yeah.
and so anything like that, and that's actually lends nicely into what I want to sell as well. But I think you're right. I think it would be a good
One
time,
more
but while the Pokemon's so hot, get rid of your rainbows.
Yeah, one more point I'd say is like back in the day, rainbows would have probably done better, even in XY era and certainly before. Not just because they were full art cards, which hadn't been seen or only just come out, but they weren't competing with these like full artwork, full card artworks with massive detail and these environments within them. So they're a bit boring compared to like an
Yeah,
SIR or
agreed.
or even illustration rares, really.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, no, totally agree. And I think it's a really good sell. I think your instinct's right on this one. My sell is it's probably not going to be right, but
Hmm.
this would be my personal opinion, right?
Okay.
And I believe right now, if you own, again, with the heat of the Pokemon market, if you own a Raichu from Scarlet Violet Paldea Evolved, it's the Raichu where he's laying on the bed upside down.
Yeah.
Um, I had this card and I've sold it. It's currently sitting at $94. And hear me out, I just don't think this is a good card.
Mhm.
You mentioned earlier about the rainbow being sort of like the same thing. Like this card, I've had it in person and it just feels like whitewashed with a slightly faded Raichu on it, which I don't like what he's doing. I don't
Yeah,
think the
I
detail
mean,
in the card is good enough. And I think it is overhyped right now in this market. And I'll be honest with you, I think the Mousehold card that's $20 cheaper on it is a better card than this one. And so if you own this card and you're thinking about it, knowing me, it's going to probably keep going up because Paldea Evolved is rotating or out of print or whatever it is. But it's not for me. I would take advantage of it getting up towards $100 and I would be cashing out and getting something different.
I can see what they were trying to do with this card, but it's kind of got that like the EV promo look.
That's what I was just about to say. That's what I was just about to say.
It's kind of got the Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur vibes with the Pidgey. Those ones. It's kind of trying to have like the cute real life vibe, but I don't know, man. It's Raichu. I feel like this doesn't work.
To your point, that was how to do the card. Like, and my camera probably won't do it justice. Everyone's seen this in person probably, but there is much more color to this card. The angle of Eevee just from above is dynamite, and then you've got a little picture of an Eevee. You've got a Pikachu plushie on the mat. Like that's the way to do that scene. And I just don't think the Raichu's any good. I don't like it. I like
They
Raichu, by
nailed,
the way. I think he's a cool
they,
Pokemon. I love Pikachu, but get rid of this card, guys.
they nailed the Eevee.
Nailed
They
the Eevee.
nailed it.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
nailed the
And
Eevee.
this is another one that I believe is a pickup, but that's another question altogether.
There we go. First market watch.
Good market watch, guys. Good
I
market
could do
watch.
about I could do about 20 of those, to be
I know,
honest. But
I know.
yeah, on to the next one. I'll see you
And
in two
that's
weeks.
probably what our DMs are talking about the most, right? Is individual cards and sets and like looking at. We talk about different cards, like 10 cards a day, probably.
Yeah, and I'll touch on that because the way we will do a deep dive at some point on this,
Yeah.
and we were planning on doing it: singles versus graded versus
Yep.
sealed, like what you should pick up and why. And one thing I think about singles is for the low cost that you can generally get into these when they first come out, if they're not a top chase card, if you pick the right one and you get a bunch of really mint copies, whether you're going to grade them or you're just going to sell them, those can actually be the biggest wins and drive your collection forward the fastest. Is if you found the right card, you committed to it, you bought a bunch of copies, it goes up 10x. If I'm going to buy like a Destined Rivals booster box right now, the amount of value that it has to increase for me to see a two times on my investment is nuts. And if you just look for these little shiny nuggets, I know on the Card Lounge podcast they always talk about finding like the diamond in the rough, and they're so right. Like with singles you can do it.
Well, Dom, that's an awesome segue into our final piece on today's episode 1, because as you mentioned, we're going to do other episodes soon where we do deep dives. This was just to kick us off, but we want to talk about a challenge that we're doing for the month of April, right? And what you were mentioning there, as I said, segues to it nicely, because the challenge that me and Dom have set out for each other to, 1, give us something fun to do and compete, 2, to be able to record some really fun content, is me and Dom are running what we call $100 flip challenge in the month of August, which effectively is 31 days to spend $100 or the equivalent in pounds in the UK to Dom. And at the end of the month, at the very beginning of May, we are going to list at the same time all of our purchases on eBay, and highest profit is going to win, right?
That's the plan. It's annoying because obviously with $100 that gives me about £4.50. So
time as well, right? Time, as you mentioned in a minute ago, right? Like the factor of time to try and get an increased profit on what you spend. That's going to be the hardest part of this challenge.
Yeah, the sensible scenario, if you're trying to invest in Pokemon, not financial advice, but if you are and you're picking up to try and drive value, is to wait and do it over time. But we're trying to do it within 4 weeks, and we're gonna need some creativity, and we're gonna have to find some hidden gems somewhere.
So let me ask you: we're already 25, well, not quite 25% the way through the month. Have you been able to buy anything yet, or have you narrowed it down?
This is so boring. I have not bought anything yet. Nothing. I do actually, though, have my eye on 1 or 2 things, but I'm going to keep them close to my chest. And then when we come back in 2 weeks and do this, that will be just before the end of the month, or potentially we'll do it sooner. I will do an update on what I've bought. I will have bought something by then, and I'll also give you my strategy for why I think that's gonna hit me a return. Because I think this is like bargain hunt, really. We're going to be aiming to make pennies on the pound.
That's right. And that's where the creativity has got to come from, right? Because there are multiple ways you could do this. Because what jumps out initially, right, is spend 100 on one card, just wait 30 days and sell. But I believe, without giving too much of my strategy away, I believe that there could be more profit made in some different ways of going about this, and it's not just maybe one card that needs to be purchased.
I'm going along the similar route, so I'll be interested to see. And the other thing I was going to ask you is, this is probably my last thing I need to mention on this really, is are you looking to buy online, or are you going to scour a few shops and see what you can find in person, or even a show? Who knows?
I'm going to be doing all 3, Dom.
Oh, wow.
Because I've got, as you mentioned earlier, I've got access to probably a lot more stores for sealed product if I wanted to take a gamble and go the sealed route. I've got a lot more card shops within my vicinity, being in a major city like Chicago. And then at the very end of this month, in Chicago, we have a CollectorCon coming to town. And so I will be going and spending an entire day at CollectorCon. And I'll be honest with you, without giving, again, too much away, I think a lot of my strategy might be research up until CollectorCon.
Okay, well, I will just say you're not allowed to do a trade up challenge at Collecticon or get your daughter to do it on your behalf because that is cheating.
Damn it. She's so cute as well, it would work.
Oh, she'd
No.
kill it, mate.
I'm with you. Yeah. But this is going to be super fun. Me and Dom, it gives us an excuse to record some really cool content throughout the month. It gives us an excuse to do a month-long activity, which is going to be super fun, doing the research and then eventually buying. And hey, hopefully we just don't lose any money.
And I've just had one more idea as well, right? Maybe for the next challenge, because we'll have different ones, but maybe for the next challenge, however much we sell the items for, that's our budget for the next challenge.
For the next one, that's a
if
clever
you
way
lost
to do it.
or gained.
Yeah.
So it rolls on. Yeah. We'll see where we can get it to.
If you are listening to this and you're in any way interested in following along with not only what we buy, but the strategy of how we're going about this, which we will discuss on content and on our podcasts going forward. If you're interested, my handle on Instagram right now is Joe's Pokédex, and Dom's handle right now is A Wild Collector Appeared. Follow us both. We'll be having some stuff on there about this challenge. I'm active. I'm recording some stuff already, so I'm excited to publish.
You're far more active than me, although I do intend on actually putting some of my collection on Instagram at some point, and maybe we'll do a little show and tell and actually bring some items out because I've got an excuse to go into the vault and pull some bits out.
That's right. I'm by no means are we trying to become insta famous or even. Our ultimate goal is actually just to be on Pokemon's media list, so they send us early releases so we can get our hands on cards. And me and Dom have some dreams of vending down the road. But as you mentioned earlier, this is just a really fun way for two mates to get together and talk about a hobby that they love. And hopefully some of our opinions and some of the challenges and some of the things we get up to is entertaining for others.
Yeah, I need to vent, and maybe next time we'll bring a drink. You can crack one of those whiskeys or something.
Oh, amen, brother. Amen.
We'll chill out one evening. Cool. Well,
Dom, I'm going to wrap things up there. Yeah, I'm going to wrap things up there for episode 1. As I said, follow myself and Dom on Instagram at our various handles. And then please follow, comment, like, subscribe. This is going to be posted on YouTube. So anything they need to do there, Dom?
No, they can follow on YouTube. You'll see. We may get 100 views. Who knows? That would be amazing. Let's go for 100 views.
You never know. If one of my card flip content pieces have got 1,700 views, we might be able to get 100. Who knows?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. Well, over and out from us, guys. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace out.